Climate change and its impact. Introduction. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. While these changes may be natural, human activities, particularly since the Industrial Revolution, have significantly accelerated the process. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and other human actions have led to an increase in greenhouse gases, causing global temperatures to rise. Causes of climate change. Greenhouse gas emissions. The primary cause of climate change is the excessive release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O. These gases trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere, causing temperatures to rise. Deforestation. Forests act as carbon sinks, absorbing CO2. The destruction of forests, especially tropical rainforests, reduces the Earth's capacity to remove CO2 from the atmosphere. Industrialization and urbanization. Rapid industrial growth, particularly in developed countries, has led to massive emissions of greenhouse gases. Urbanization, too, contributes through increased energy consumption, transportation, and waste generation. Agriculture. Modern agricultural practices, such as livestock farming and rice cultivation, release large amounts of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Impact of climate change. Rising global temperatures. One of the most visible impacts of climate change is the increase in global temperatures. This rise in temperature has led to the melting of polar ice caps and glaciers, contributing to rising sea levels. Melting ice caps and glaciers. As global temperatures rise, polar ice caps and glaciers are melting at unprecedented rates. This not only leads to rising sea levels but also threatens ecosystems and species that depend on cold environments. Sea level rise. As the polar ice caps melt, the water levels in oceans rise, which threatens coastal communities with flooding and erosion. Many small island nations and low-lying cities are at risk of becoming submerged. Extreme weather events. Climate change is causing an increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, such as hurricanes, floods, droughts, and heat waves. These events can have devastating impacts on communities, agriculture, and infrastructure. Impact on biodiversity. Many species are unable to adapt to the rapid changes in climate, leading to loss of biodiversity. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns disrupt ecosystems, forcing species to migrate or face extinction. Impact on agriculture and food security. Climate change affects agricultural productivity, as altered rainfall patterns and increased temperatures lead to droughts, floods, and reduced crop yields. This threatens global food security, especially in regions already vulnerable to hunger and poverty. Human health impacts. Climate change also poses serious risks to human health. Rising temperatures can exacerbate heat-related illnesses, while changing weather patterns can lead to the spread of diseases like malaria and dengue. Air and water quality may also degrade, further impacting public health. Social and economic consequences. Migration and displacement. Climate-induced disasters and rising sea levels are leading to the displacement of people. Climate refugees, particularly from low-lying coastal areas and small island nations, are forced to migrate in search of safer living conditions. Economic losses. Extreme weather events, loss of agricultural productivity, and the destruction of infrastructure due to climate change can result in massive economic losses. Developing countries, which are less equipped to deal with the consequences, are particularly vulnerable. Conflict and resource scarcity. Climate change can exacerbate resource scarcity, particularly for water and arable land. This can lead to conflicts over access to these vital resources, further destabilizing already fragile regions. Mitigation and adaptation strategies. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The most urgent step to mitigate climate change is reducing greenhouse gas emissions. This can be achieved through a shift to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and adopting sustainable agricultural practices. Afforestation and reforestation, planting more trees and restoring forests can help absorb CO2 from the atmosphere, reducing the overall concentration of greenhouse gases. Climate-smart agriculture, implementing farming techniques that are resilient to climate change, such as using drought-resistant crops, efficient irrigation systems, and reducing methane emissions from livestock, can help safeguard food security. International cooperation, addressing climate change requires global efforts. International agreements, like the Paris Agreement, aim to limit global temperature rise by reducing emissions and supporting adaptation efforts in vulnerable countries. Adaptation measures, building resilient infrastructure, improving early warning systems for extreme weather events, and promoting sustainable urban development can help communities adapt to the effects of climate change. Conclusion: climate change is one of the most pressing challenges of our time. Its impacts are already being felt worldwide, affecting ecosystems, economies, and human lives. Mitigating climate change requires a concerted effort from governments, businesses, and individuals. By taking immediate and decisive action, we can reduce the severity of its impacts and safeguard the planet for future generations.